Ever wonder why the Middle East is a constant headline for war and conflict? It all goes back to a secret 30-minute meeting between two guys you've never heard of. In 1916, they took a map and just drew new borders. They made a secret deal to carve up the region for themselves, promising the same land to multiple people, and then just left. Was this the worst deal in history? Stick around to find out how a 100-year-old secret treaty is still causing chaos today. In 1916, as the world's great powers clashed in the First World War, the Ottoman Empire was crumbling. Mark Sykes was a British aristocrat and political advisor, passionate about the East, and convinced that British interests required strategic control over the region's resources. François Georges-Picot was a French diplomat, thorough, methodical, driven by the logic of empire and French prestige. Britain craved a secure route to India and sought control over oil fields. France had long coveted influence over Syria and Lebanon. The war had created both opportunity and dilemma. Behind closed doors, these two diplomats began to redraw the map of the Middle East. Negotiations began in earnest in London's gentlemen's clubs, sometimes over lunch, other times in heated back rooms.
The terms must be precise. France takes direct control here, Syria and Lebanon.
Agreed. And Britain's red zone encompasses Iraq and this corridor to Jordan.
The agreement divided the Arab provinces into areas of direct and indirect control, with France's blue zones and Britain's red zones.
Between our zones, we'll establish an area of supposed Arab independence, under our influence, of course.
And Palestine, given its complexities, international administration seems wisest.
Their lines carved through communities, tribes, and faiths, with little regard for realities on the ground. While Sykes and Picot secretly carved up Arab lands, Britain was making very different promises to Arab leaders. Sharif Hussein of Mecca was told that in exchange for revolt against the Ottomans, the Arabs would gain their independence. Your Highness, Britain pledges to support Arab independence in return for your alliance against the Ottoman Empire. The Arabs rose in revolt, believing they fought for their own freedom and self-determination. But this was a masterclass in duplicity. While publicly supporting Arab independence, Britain and France were privately dividing those same Arab lands between themselves. The cycle of broken promises had begun, sowing seeds of mistrust that would endure for generations. In November 1917, the Bolsheviks seized power in Petrograd and found themselves in possession of a vast trove of imperial secrets. Among these documents was the text of the secret Sykes-Picot Agreement, revealing the true nature of Allied promises. Hoping to undermine Allied credibility and stir anti-colonial sentiment, the Soviets published the agreement. The shockwaves were immediate. News of the secret carve-up spread across the globe like wildfire. Arab nationalists were infuriated. The scope of Western betrayal was finally exposed for all to see. The exposure of Sykes-Picot was a turning point, triggering cynicism and anger that persists today. Trust between the Middle East and Western powers had been shattered, creating narratives of hypocrisy that echo through history. The war ended, but the imperial project was far from over. At the 1919 Paris Peace Conference, the victorious Allies needed a way to formalize their new authority. Enter the mandate system, enshrined in Article 22 of the League of Nations Covenant, claiming to guide peoples not yet able to stand by themselves. Class A mandates included the former Ottoman Arab provinces, Syria and Lebanon for France, Palestine and Iraq for Britain. In practice, the mandates kept tight control, suppressing dissent and nurturing local elites loyal to the metropole. The arbitrary lines drawn by European diplomats became borders still contested today. The cycle of broken promises created enduring mistrust between the Middle East and Western powers. Sykes and Picot may have been just two men in a room, but the lines they scratched on a map continue to shape the destiny of a vast and complicated region.